Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. I'm Jason Harmon, your host, and I have Miss Mime Barnes with me co-hosting today.
Good
Thank
to be
you,
here.
Mime, for being here with us today. And we got some special guests with us, Mr. Michael Neal and David Roddy. So, with the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, this is the podcast of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and just trying to get the information out to you, the public, and keep you all informed on what we're doing and how we're trying to make the outdoors better for you. And that's what this show is all about. And we are in a little different studio today. We are at Hiawassee Refuge, and it's a neat place to be.
Yeah, known for sandhill cranes and waterfowl, that's for sure. And it is a beautiful place to be. A little bit cold this morning.
It is cold. I thought they were going to put us out on the pavilion outside, and we were going to be freezing our butts off out there. But no, this is nice in here at the little cabin they got here on the property, and it's good to be here.
It is.
So
good
I seen a
be
deer
here.
when I came in, running across the field out there. So
I was ospreyer back. I was looking for bald eagles on the way in, I have to admit, but didn't see any. But the osprey are back already, so
yeah,
good sign
awesome.
of spring despite the weather.
Yeah. But we got a good set here today inside, and we're staying warm, and we want to talk fishing mostly today. But first I wanted to hit on the 2017 fish regulations, some of the changes that are going on, and I'll show those to the folks at home if you're watching. There's a few changes, and you can see those on the screen, and not many, but just a few we need to make note of. And if you're a big crappie fisherman in Region 1 Kentucky Lake, that crappie limit has changed, so make sure you make note of that. It's 20 per day instead of 30, I think is what it was before. But just make sure you make note of the different changes across the state. They got the guide license now and the new Native Tennessee annual license. And there's special regulations. There are special things you have to turn in to make sure you apply for that, or that allow you to apply for that. So just a few of the 2017 changes, and the guides should be in.
Weather slowed us down a little bit, and we should see those guides coming in this next week. But we were hoping to get them this week, but with weather, we can't control Mother Nature. So here we are coming into another week, but you can check them out online, pull them up on your phone even.
Yeah, just right there under the 4 Anglers tab. It's real easy to find on our website at tnwildlife.org. So it's all right there. And this weekend is the juvenile youth
Turkey hunt.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an exciting one.
So the kids will be raring to go to get out there and chase some turkeys, and then the full season opens up the next weekend, April Fool's Day, April 1st. It's not a joke, folks.
It's happening. We look forward to it. Turkey season's always a fun one on our wildlife management areas and throughout the state. And if you want to share your pictures with us, please check us out on Facebook and just send us those pictures. We love seeing what's going on out there, and we love seeing your success.
And speaking of pictures, if you post your pictures to Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, and you put a hashtag behind that, TN Wildlife or TN hashtag TN Trophy Room, that'll end up on our tag board and feature it out there, and you can go see all the harvests and catches and everybody having fun out in Tennessee outdoors. So
yeah, get out there and enjoy it, folks.
Well, let's get to our guest and introduce Mr. Michael Neal. Michael, we appreciate you being with us today and being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And he's a professional angler, and he's also helping us get the word out about aquatic nuisance species. And we have Mr. David Roddy here with us. He's kind of behind the whole program and helps us stay on top of the problems we're seeing with these guys, the aquatic nuisance stuff. So anyway, first I want to start with Michael and get a quick background from you. So how'd you get into fishing, and what's the tour you're on, and give us just a little background about yourself.
I fished the FLW Tour along with the BASS Opens. I fished the tour since 2012, so this is my 6th year total. I've made the Forest Wood Cup several times in that span, so I've had a little bit of success. As a fisherman, we can always do better, but I love fishing. I mean, it's always been my passion. I love to hunt too. Mm-hmm. Off time in the winter, that's what I do most of the times. I spend my time out in the woods chasing deer, do a little bit of crappie fishing. So still got the fishing in there, but I take a little bit of a break in the wintertime to get away from it sometimes. You don't want to get burned out on it, being on the road 6-8 months out of the year. It gets a little tiresome towards the end, but you got that off season, and you're ready to go the next year again. We're 3 tournaments in out of 7 so far this year, so we're almost halfway, and I'm really looking forward to the second half of the season.
So how's the season going so far?
I'm in 13th in the points so far.
Awesome.
Great, that's
Not far out of the
fantastic.
top 10, not far out of the top 5, but it's still anybody's game at this point for Angler of the Year and to win any of the tournaments. I mean, I haven't won my first professional event yet, so these next 4, I'm really going to try and get that milestone.
Cool. So
Good
where's your next tournament?
The next one's at Lake Cumberland. It's April around the 9th, 6th through the 9th, I believe, are the dates. The first full week of April. So it's going to be a good tournament. Not too far across state lines, so it'll be good.
Awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Aquatic Nuisance partnership. How'd you get involved with us as an agency and in this partnership?
You know, I've seen this aquatic nuisance stuff all across the country, everywhere we go now. They're talking about this in the meetings, it's signs at the boat ramps, and it's something that's affecting the whole country. It's not just one certain area. We really need to take a look at this here in Tennessee, and that's how I got with TWRA and formed this partnership, is I'm passionate about that. I'm looking down the road at 20, 30 years from now. I want things to be like they are now. I don't want to see things go on a downhill slide. So I got with TWRA and all the great guys here and wanted to see if I could help out.
Yeah, I was curious. I want to back up a little bit. Who introduced you to fishing, and throughout your career and throughout your life, have you seen aquatic nuisance species affecting the fisheries around you?
I have. I grew up fishing with really every male figure in my family. My dad, my grandfather, my uncle. My uncle's a well-known guide here on Chickamauga, Roddy Brown. He's probably who taught me a lot more of the tournament aspect of fishing, but those other 2 guys definitely had a big part in getting me out on the water at a young age. Kept me out of trouble all through school, too. I mean, you can't complain about that. I didn't have many friends in school, but all I wanted to do was either play baseball or fish.
Nice.
So it got me to where I'm at now, and I'm very thankful for that, very thankful for all my family and getting me out on the water. And that's something I tell people now is make sure you try and take a kid fishing. It doesn't matter how young they are, how much that it may take out of your day, or you may have to get them untangled 20 times a day, but they will remember that and they will appreciate it later on for sure.
Yeah, I think that's true for all of us.
For sure. And I have seen the aquatic nuisances, even everywhere we go, like up north, the zebra mussels have been really, really bad in the Great Lakes. It really affects the fishing. It's harder to fish for them. You have to kind of pay attention. You have to really check your knots all the time. They fray your line really bad. So there's a lot of things that it does with fishing. You got the plants that grow that completely change the ecosystem of a lake or river. It's just, there's all kinds of things with aquatic nuisances that change fishing.
Yeah, we're hoping to keep that out as much as we can with the Aquatic Nuisance Species Program here and everything David's done. And I'm real proud of the Region 3 Fisheries crew. The reservoir crew, they've just jumped in and been teaching high school bass teams and spreading the word as much as they can. They have cleaning stations around, and we just hope to keep that whole program spreading.
Oh yeah, the high school is a great place to start. I mean, that's a great thing for anglers. It gets them going all the way up too. So get them started at a young age. Even before that, start teaching them about the aquatic nuisances. So we'll have these great treasures we have for a long time to come.
Yeah, so I want to ask. So you grew up around Chickamauga?
I have. I've been here all my life.
Is that your favorite? Do you have a favorite place to fish in Tennessee?
I would have to say that this is the favorite. Pickwick would be a close second. I really enjoy fishing that lower end of Pickwick down there around on the Tennessee end by the dam. Kentucky Lake. I mean, the whole Tennessee River system's got to be my favorite. That's how I like to fish. Mostly those offshore fish. And when you're on the Tennessee River, you can always find some of those fish out there. So Chickamauga would have to be my favorite. I mean, you got the state record came out of here a few years ago, and I'm sure there's another one out there swimming around for somebody else to catch. And it's unbelievable how this place is from now, especially when I first started, that I can really remember in the early 2000s how the fishing was then to 2017 now. I mean, it's unbelievable how much it's changed.
I was going to ask you later in the show about your big catch and chasing the big fish. What's your biggest catch so far?
For a 5-fish limit was, I believe it was 37.96. It was my uncle and myself in a CBA, Chattanooga Bass Association tournament. I believe it was 2014. It was the year the Alabama rig first came out, real strong, and we caught it then. My biggest single fish is just a 9-pounder. I don't get to fish out here as much as I'd like to, being on the road and all that, and working at the Dayton Boat Dock, keeping everything straight there, and tackle sales in the little restaurant. But I'd like to get out here. That's my goal, is in the next 12 months sometime to catch a 10-pounder. I mean, you hear so many out here.
For us to hear a 9-pounder.
That's a big fish.
I'm chasing the 6-pounder.
Oh, come right out here to Chickamauga. I promise you, it won't take you too long to catch a 6.
I did get lucky enough to catch a 6-pounder one time, and then it was funny. I was just fishing off a little dock in Middle Tennessee on Percy Priest Lake, and happened to catch a mama sitting there right up under the dock. But so anyway. Well, let's push the mic over to David real quick, and let's hit on some of this aquatic nuisance stuff and highlight the problems and talk about some of the issues we're having. David, thanks for being with us today and coming to Region 3, I guess, and getting away from the Nashville office for a little while. Tell us about the Aquatic Nuisance Species Program and what our goals are with this program.
I don't know if I have a whole lot to add after Michael. He's pretty versed in this.
He is versed.
That's good to hear.
He's on it.
Basically, in 2008, the Tennessee Aquatic Nuisance Species Management program went into place. This opened the door for us to use this management plan to get some federal funding. It's very small. We're actually trying to get a piece of $2 million that are about 40 states are trying to get as well. So that management plan actually identified 75 aquatic plants and animals that are invasive in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And also with this funding we get, we try to educate the people, and we try to survey our water bodies with these nuisance species. And also we're able to post boat ramp signs. And the sign with the Asian carp, that's not to get people overly excited. It's just a warning that they're here, because they will jump 8 feet out of the water. And we just want to let people know that they're present, not to scare them off. But the challenges we have, there's 3 major species from West Tennessee. It's the Asian carp. They're in Kentucky Reservoir, Barkley, and the Tennessee River, and also the Coleman River. And as you move to East Tennessee, we've got the zebra mussels, and in between we've got a lot of aquatic vegetation that's pretty much across the state. And one of the other than the Asian carp, the zebra mussels, and I think this came from Watts Bar. This is our major concern, and Michael mentioned it. These things are really spread up north. They came in from overseas and about 1988, and they got into the Great Lakes from ballast water from shipping vessels, and they have slowly moved down the Mississippi and going out through the tributaries. And they first showed up in Norris Reservoir at a marina, and we, there's no barge traffic going through there. So basically, the anglers from up north brought them to Norris at this marina. They launch their boats there. They'll keep their boats in those slips. And these zebra mussels, once they attach, they really won't come off unless you knock them off. If you can see, there's little bissel threads here that attach to rocks, plastic, concrete, fiberglass boat hulls. Right. And it's almost like super glue. And one adult zebra mussel can filter a liter of water, and that's what Michael was saying about the Great Lakes. There's so many up there that they're actually filtering the microscopic food out of the water. It's making it clear. And it's getting blue-green algae. Mm-hmm. It's also getting aquatic vegetation. It's actually changing the chemistry of some of the Great Lakes. So that's what we're seeing in Norris. It's starting to get clearer. The productivity is going down.
And that was around the 1980s, you said, that they started seeing this?
Up in the Great Lakes, and actually we started seeing them probably about 92.
Okay.
And the one female zebra mussel can release 1 million eggs in a given season.
Wow.
And they're microscopic. It's not like a mussel where they have to attach to a fish gill as a host. these things are in the water, they drift, and they're so microscopic that in just a little puddle of water in the middle of your boat deck, you can have several hundred or 1,000. And that's what we're trying to do with the high school, and with Michael helping us sponsor Stop Aquatic Hitchhikers, is to educate the boaters, the recreational boaters and the anglers to clean, drain, dry their boat. And it's pretty simple. Just pull your plug to drain the interior of your boat, your live wells, and actually some zebra mussels can live 30 days in a moist environment. So we know, and I think in 2015, we actually found zebra mussels in Cherokee Reservoir. And the only way they could have got there was from other boats.
Another boat. Mm-hmm.
Probably striper fishermen going from Norris to Cherokee to fish for stripers. So we're trying to use some biological control on Cherokee, since it's just a small amount of zebra mussels. We're stocking red ear sunfish, also known as a shellcracker.
Mm-hmm.
They've got pharyngeal teeth in their throat, and they'll actually crunch up the small zebra mussels. And then we have stocked blue catfish that are known to consume them as well. So
Okay.
our major, I guess, plan is to educate the anglers and the recreational boaters to take care of their boats when they pull them out, if there's any vegetation on the boat, and just kind of do a visual looking for any zebra mussels. The problem is the boats that are in slips for more than 30 days, they can start attaching. The villagers will drift and float in the water for about 30 days, and then they start looking somewhere to attach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're seeing. Is these boats have been in the water for 30 days. They could already be on there. They move into another
body, yeah.
body water, and if they're the villager, they can just be flushed out.
Right.
So David, one of the things I think we like to say is it really is about people. If we want to stop this, it's got to be people that do it. They're not walking across land. It really is how we are interacting with our environment. So that clean, drain, dry means everything to us. And it's not just us. One of the things that Michael and I, what we were chatting about before the show is, seeing our reservoirs 30 years from now, when we might be too old to be out there with a rod and reel fishing, we know our children or our grandchildren are going to be out there, and we want to protect these resources for that time.
Yes, and we're also concerned about bait buckets and the bait dealers. A lot of the bait dealers in Tennessee get their bait from the northern states, and we have documented sticklebacks that are not native, gambusia or the mosquito fish in these baits, and also crayfish. We've got several invasive crayfish that are coming through the bait dealers. So we try to educate the angler to, when they get through fishing, to take that bait bucket and dump it in the woods or on the ground, and not dump that back into the water.
Yeah, we often say that even earthworms, the red wigglers, people don't know that is not a native earthworm. That I think there's only 1 or 2 native earthworms in Tennessee, and so all that bait needs to be disposed of properly. It shouldn't just be dumped into the water or dumped on the shore.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's all about us. We've got to step up there.
And one other avenue, or in this management plan, they documented pathways, how these things came in, and you wouldn't believe the amount of aquarium keepers that dump their aquarium fish, and these are usually tropical fish that will survive the winter. We get reports and pictures in the National Office of paiku, which is a relative of the piranha. It doesn't have the teeth of a piranha. Of course, the Oscars and goldfish show up, and we think a lot of our aquatic vegetation, we know in Percy Priest in the upper reaches, the parrot feather is taken over, and that's generally an aquarium or a koi pond plant species that's come in. It's not native. So I understand that the aquarium keepers don't want to dump their favorite Oscar that they named, or flush it, but the most humane way is to put it in a freezer, and they will slowly die, and then also your vegetation will freeze. But we're seeing a lot of these aquarium fish. And also, just as a sidebar, we've got the Tom Bigby pathway. We actually have striped mullet in Tennessee, and a needlefish, which is a saltwater fish, that makes that pathway up through that chain. So we see a lot of crazy things out in the water bodies.
Well, in Middle Tennessee, would you consider the tilapia? Would that be considered an invasive?
It is invasive, but that is also anybody can raise that as a production fish.
In a pond or something.
Yeah, it's a commercial raised food fish. We think that the population in the Cumberland River, Old Hickory specifically, came from the 2010 flood.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wow.
But
they're kind of isolated into that warm water area near that steam plant.
They seem to pack in there as soon as the water temp gets below 48 degrees. They'll get in that discharge flume.
Yeah, I think all of this is why one of the reasons we were so excited for Michael to come on board, because as an agency, we put out messages continually, but to have someone embedded in the field, speaking to fellow anglers about what's going on just means the world to us. It really, spreading that word, we can talk to kids and groups and everything, but actually having somebody out there that's putting all these things into practices just means a lot to us.
Yeah, and up north, and specifically the Asian carp in the Missouri River, they're actually seeing the native species being ran out by the Asian carp. Mm-hmm. And the Asian carp are filter feeders, and up north they're seeing the shad populations decline, and also the paddlefish, because they're consuming the same food items. So, we certainly don't want people moving, catching bait below a dam that's got Asian carp in it and moving it to another reservoir.
Right.
As I said earlier, if you dump your bait bucket, guess what you just did? You just spread an invasive species. So, like Mime says, down the road, who knows what our water body is going to look like from these invasive species if we each individual angler or recreational boater doesn't do their part just to check their boat before going to another reservoir.
Yeah, as a state agency, we want to control that so badly, but we can't do it with the support of all of our anglers and all of our outdoor enthusiasts across the state.
Exactly.
So get on board, folks.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, put the mic back over to Michael, if you don't mind. I had a question. How did you learn about the aquatic nuisance species issues? Is it something you were just kind of aware of, or was it the notice that we're putting out there that got you aware of it, or how did you learn about that?
It was generally all across the country, but when I came here, this is home. I mean, this is what I really want to make sure first and foremost gets taken care of. And when I started learning about this, and I saw all the signs at the boat ramps, and TWRA is really making a big push to this, so I came to the guys at the fishery department and wanted to do something to help. So that's why I'm here. That's why I've got it on my boat, my truck, and my jersey, is I want to make everybody aware of what we're doing to try and solve some of these problems, slow them down, and to make sure these waterways stay the way they are now for future generations.
And I was going to show a picture of your boat, or actually it's your truck, the tailgate or the quarter panel of the truck there. You're standing there next to it. It's got the you can help stop aquatic nuisance species or hitchhikers, and it's got the clean, drain, dry, the check marks there. So that's cool to have that on the truck. And you said it's on the boat.
Yes, sir. It's on both. I mean, and that's very important. That's 3 simple steps: clean, drain, dry, and that'll solve a whole lot of these problems and slow them way down. If everybody would just do that, it'd take a lot of effort out of this.
Michael, when you're out on the tour, do you see other anglers really buying into this and understanding how aquatic nuisance species are affecting our waterways? And do you see them jumping on board with you to...
Yeah, fishermen as a whole are very environmentally friendly. They understand, they know what's going on. They want to preserve these resources. So, yeah, I would say as a whole, most of them are jumping on board. It's something that I'm seeing more gradually every year. Used to, bass tournaments, you just take fish and every one of them would die. They'd clean them and eat them. But now they've gone to catch and release in that. And I think this is going to be the next step, is making sure that at all these tournaments and just educating the anglers and as a whole just to clean, drain, dry, and take steps in the right direction and spread the word to everybody else that don't know it as well.
That's great.
Are there, this just came to mind, are there areas at the boat docks and boat ramps and things to wash your boat off and to help with these things, or just it's up to the angler once they get home to clean off their boat and keep it out of the, keep from what's the word I'm trying to look?
Transporting
these these species from water to water.
Most of it's up to the angler, but I mean, most of it you can get to the areas. You drain your live wells, you drain your boat, you pull any of the excess grass off your trailers or things like that, especially when you're going from one body of water to the next. So if you go to Chickamauga from Watts Bar, you want to really make sure to take these extra steps. I mean, it's always a good idea to do it, but anytime you're going from one place to another, that's when these things really take off.
Yeah. And like David was saying, it's normally the boats that are sitting there a little while that the zebra mussels and things start attaching to. But like you say, the grass and things on the motor, that's another easy way that could be spread.
Right. That, and I mean, the bilge pumps or the bilge area of the boat. I mean, if you don't take your plug out and you get backwash or a wave comes over the front of the boat, whatever, and then you go to another lake, he said these things can live for 30 days in a moist environment. So if they're sitting in the bottom of your boat for 2 weeks and you go to a new lake and your bilge pump kicks on, well, you just inadvertently transported that just because you didn't pull your bilge plug out. Well,
let's move to just a little more, I guess a happier topic or whatever, but that's all good information, and I just wanted to talk to Michael about over the course of your career and fishing in Tennessee. What's your thoughts on how the fisheries management's going on here in Tennessee?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, that's one of the main things that you can really tribute the success of Chickamauga to is the TWRA's fisheries department. I mean, they stock the Florida bass here. Now they started to stock them in other reservoirs, Watts Bar, Nickajack. So, I mean, it's really going to take off. I mean, it took a few years here to see the growth of the fish, but, I mean, and not only that, but all these other species that they do. We have, I would say, the best wildlife resources agency anywhere I've been. It seems like everybody here takes great pride in everything we have, as well as the anglers and outdoors people. I mean, you see it. Everybody has that pride for and the love for the outdoors, but it seems like here in Tennessee, it's the best place I've been.
I say we do it because we love it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a quick story. I happened to be with fisheries when they were stocking the Tennessee bass or the Florida bass, which can't be stocked just anywhere. And a lot of research went into the program. And there were a couple anglers there watching the fish go into the water. And they said, we're talking little tiny fingerlings. And they said, "Oh, fishing's going to be good next year."
Oh, yeah.
I said, "Gentlemen, give us about 6-7 years."
Oh man, they pull some amazing fish out of those bodies of water when they go shocking and doing their studies and stuff. It's pretty crazy.
I love seeing
Oh yeah,
it.
I know one study was done locally here at a tournament, and the fin clippings they saw what species they were if they had the Florida strain in them, and I think almost every single fish over 8 pounds had some sort of the Florida strain genetic in it. So that's just proof, data proof of what these fisheries management people are doing and how they're helping these waters.
And something I can't help but mention is this past year, I mean, it's amazing the state records and the world records that we're having here in Tennessee, and a lot of them have been fish. And even though it might be a perch or sometimes it comes out of a pond, and but it's amazing what kind of resources we're producing here in Tennessee.
Yeah, that's very true. I got to go back to the aquatic nuisance species.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, so biologists see aquatic nuisance species as the biggest threat to our fisheries program, and how do you've answered this, but in a roundabout way, but I'd like to hear it again. Just how does this impact your thoughts as you proceed with your career?
I'm just 25 years old, so I look at this and I figure I've got at least another 40 to 50 years to enjoy the outdoors. And that's why I'm so passionate about this, is because I want to make sure that we have these clean, wholesome environments to enjoy, not only for me, but my future generations as well. I mean, like y'all say, 40, 50 years down the road is a long time to know what's going to happen, but I know that if I take these steps and I educate other people to take these steps, that it's going to be a step in the right direction to preserve our resources.
Well, I have one more question for you, and it's Doug Markham's not here, so I got to say it on his behalf. Will you teach Jason how to fish?
I will. I'll be more than happy to.
Well, you might have to teach Doug and Jason how to fish. He's taken me many times, and we've struggled the past few. So anyway, it's good to give Doug a hard time. But anyway, he would have loved to have been here and talk to you, but he's on assignment, you could say, I guess. But anyway, hey, thanks for being with us. Thanks,
you,
David, for coming
Michael.
down. And Mimi, thanks for coming.
My
I forgot
pleasure.
to introduce you as Region 3 Information Specialist.
Yes.
So it's good to have the region coordinators on with us every now and again.
Good to be back. Thanks.
So, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You can catch us on tnwildlife.org and keep following our social media. We're always out there, and keep coming back. Thank y'all.